Now, last week I did a video on EVs being discounted on Auto Trader, and it proved very popular. So this week I thought I'd do a similar thing with vans, and the results were even more incredible than the cars. So stay tuned. This is truly phenomenal. You may have noticed, for the sharp listeners amongst you, I'm not in a car. I am indeed in a commercial kitchen, where I am masquerading as a wannabe chef. But that's a story for another day. Anyway, so went on Auto Trader and typed in new electric vans, not make and model, just new electric vans, and this is the first thing that came up. And it says range up to 100 miles. So I thought, well, no, I'll increase that option because, you know, that's rubbish. So I went into the option and it looked like this. Because you can't increase it, Auto Trader only gives a range of up to 100 miles for any electric van on the market right now. Auto Trader know what they're doing. I've checked some of the ranges of these vans. They say the range is like 213 miles. It's not for any of them. It's bollocks. An Auto Trader have seen through that, and they've said no, range is up to 100 miles. That's your option. So, without further ado, number one on the list, the Citroën E Dispatch. Here you go. Now, this is the Stellantis group. It's the same thing as the Vivaro, the Toyota Pro-Ace, the Peugeot. They're all the bloody same. And in fact, inside, there's plenty of videos on this. I've done videos on the Vivaro, the Pro-Ace. They're all the same van. They're all the same shit van. They do, the British Gas one's fully racked out with ladders on top and everything. You get 76 miles full range from full charge on a motorway. If you drove it down a motorway for 70 miles, you'd have to stop. Oh, and if they get below 10%, they also can cut out, and then you need recovering, and you have to be winched and dragged because these things don't freewheel either. But nevertheless, you want a bargain, you've come to the right place. Oh yes, you have, because the Citroën Dispatch recommended retail price £56,000 for a van. However, on the road price. And this is the thing. This is all there on Auto Trader. So you can't say, nah, it's not true. It's there. You can look for yourself. I haven't made it up. On the road price, £26,000. That's a discount of over 30 grand. 54% off the recommended retail price. I mean, that's not depreciated. That's depreciated plus 3 years. So literally, you're buying a van for what it should be worth in 3 years' time. Except it won't be worth that in 3 years' time. It'll just be worth pence. 54% discount on a brand new van. I mean, you still wouldn't have one, but nevertheless, look at that. And this is how desperate they are to shift these bloody things. Next up, and I haven't driven this, the Transit E. But, you know, they're all the same. I'm sure it's a well kitted out van. I always loved the Transit van, petrol or diesel. I thought they were the best vans overall as a package, petrol or diesel on the road. Or diesel, they don't even make petrol ones anymore. Used to back in the day. But, a Transit van for 52 grand, recommended retail. Whew. Not anymore though, because you can pick one up for 29 on the road. That's a discount of 23 grand, 44%. I mean, it's not as good as the Citroën, is it? But these are such massive, massive discounts. Huge. This is how desperate they are to shift these things. Now, we're getting into serious territory now. Check out the Maxis. Now, this is a refrigerated electric van. I mean, it blew my mind to think they'd bother putting a refrigeration unit on a milk float. because what's that going to do to the battery life? I would imagine you just need an extension lead plugged in 24 hours a day for the refrigeration unit to work, or tow a generator behind to run the refrigeration unit. Because if you're running that and that Maxis van, and I have driven a Maxis van, and they are the worst for range on the market. There's nothing worse. They're awful, and they're also one of the worst made. I mean, it's just cheap Chinese shit. Not this one though, with a recommended retail price of £80,000. 80 grand! But you can have it for 45. What a bargain. 45 grand for a van. 45 grand, a discount of £35,000. Or 43%. I mean, granted, I think they may have overpriced it a bit at 80 grand. I think they may have added a bit too much on when they went, oh, this is worth 80. It's clearly not, is it? I mean, it never will be. It never was, it never will be. The refrigeration bit, the actual fridge unit on the back of the van, is probably worth more than the van. God knows how far you get in it though. I really don't think you get very far. Speaking of not getting very far, the next one is the Mercedes Vito E. And you can find this video. This video is on my YouTube channel. The day I had a choice, I could freeze my tits off or get to where I needed to be, because the choice was that stark. Every time I turned the heating on, the range went down by 20 miles. So I had to leave the heating off. There's a lovely video of me stamping my feet, driving up the motorway, desperately trying to get some circulation in my toes because it's that bloody cold in there. It must have been about this time last year. Nevertheless, the video is there. One of the worst things I've driven. Also doesn't come with sat nav, comes with a compass. Again, I don't need to make it up. It's reality. It's what it is. And it's 53 grand brand new. But you can have one for 28. Discount of 25 grand. 47% discount. 47%. I mean, imagine it. But if you don't want that, and you want a van that's just as crap as the Citroen or the Toyota or the Vauxhall, you want your Peugeot E Expert. Because it's exactly the same van, as I keep saying. Now that, dirt cheap. 46 grand brand new, what a bargain. Except, you can have it for 23, half price. They ain't fucked about. They haven't gone with percentages. No accountant's been involved in this. What's that crap van worth? 46 grand. Have it. 23 grand. 50% off. There you go. I mean, a brand new van for 23 grand, I suppose, with full warranty and everything else. It ain't a bad deal, is it? If it weren't for the fact, it's crap. Then a really interesting one. The Renault Master. Now, this is classed as a removal van, but with that bloody great Luton body on the back of it, surely, unless you're moving next door, this van ain't getting there. If you want to move from London to Cornwall and you want to use one of these vans, then you might as well leave 3 days after the van leaves London, because that's how long it's going to take to get there by the time it charges up 73 times. Because the Renault van's got 100 miles tops on little runs. You put it on a long run, that's down to 70. You put that Luton body on it, I reckon it's down to 50 on a motorway, if you're lucky. You're literally going to have to stop at every... I mean, it'd be brilliant if you like motorway services, because you're going to spend a hell of a lot of time in them. But nevertheless, 70 grand brand new. You're all right. You can have it for 40. 40 grand. 30 grand discount. 42% off. Oh! Which is, I think 42% is about your average depreciation for a car that you drive out the showroom. So it's just depreciated while it was standing there brand new, not being bought, which is nice. And then the Vivar E. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to talk about the Vivar E. It's legendary for being the first milk float van I drove, and a revelation that made me on this crusade for being crap. It took me, I drove from Peterborough to Weymouth in it, and it took me 10.5 hours. And that was direct. That was as quick as I could have done it, 10.5 hours, because of the amount of times I had to stop. I even had to stop in Tesco's in Dorchester just to do the last 14 miles to Weymouth because I didn't have enough charge. And Tesco's in Dorchester at the time didn't have fast chargers, and I had to use the 4 kilowatt plug-in thing, and it said total time to charge 23 hours and 57 minutes. And I had to ring the Airbnb and say, look, I'm going to be late because I'm driving the future. Nevertheless, 47 grand on the road. This one, the Vivar E, the worst van, I mean, it's the same as all the rest, but for some reason, the least discounted of all the vans. Only 17 grand off. 30 grand brand new. Well, you go for the Peugeot because it's exactly the same van. You wouldn't bother. You save yourself 7 grand straight away. You're buying exactly the same van with a different badge on it. There's literally no difference. They haven't even bothered to change any of the interior. They've just changed the badges. Go and have a look. 36% discount. That's crap, isn't it? And then finally, I had to put this one in because it's been very popular today on my Facebook page. The completely pointless, not a van, and certainly not a bus, the ID Buzz. Whew. 43 grand brand new. I mean, these things have come down in price phenomenally since they first launched them. And the RRP is 43 grand. But you can have one for 30. I mean, it's not a bus, it's not a van. It's basically a Golf with a wind problem that's slightly bilious. It's bloated. It's a bloated Golf, but it's a bloated Golf E, and the Golf E is terrible. So the ID Buzz, I haven't driven one. I have been inside one, but I haven't driven it. And I've got to admit, I don't feel like I've missed out on anything. 30% discount. Doesn't even seem worth it, does it? But I'll put it in anyway, just for fun. So there you have it. The EV van industry is that thriving. The average discount, looking down my list, is 45% off new price. 45%. And they're adding 5k government grants, and they're adding their own incentives, and they still can't shift the things, because they're just as bad as I say they are, despite what all the evangelists tell me. Because I've actually driven them, all of them, and you haven't. But what would I know? I'm thick as mince, remember? Oh, and a new one today. Not today, yesterday. I was told that if I don't understand EVs, it's probably because I'm autistic and can't appreciate change. I got it. As one of the insults of the day goes, that was a beauty. Oh dear, so now I'm just Rain Man. I'm Charlie Babbitt. Oh, got to charge. I'm a good driver. I could drive a milk float. Bollocks. So thanks for the insults. I take it with the contempt that it deserves. I'm not autistic. Mental, but not autistic. There's a very, very different thing going on here. So there you go. You want that? Get yourself a milk float van. Discount of the year. Get yourself one for Christmas. I'll tell you what, Father Christmas ain't having one, that's for sure, because he certainly wouldn't get round the world in 24 hours. He wouldn't even get round a roundabout in 24 hours in one of these things. Because, as I've said many a time, future, my arse.